All right, everybody. This is our follow-up to the Zillow Unlock event. I know that some of you were at the event, and that was really fantastic. We had an awesome workshop there. And then I know a lot of folks were not able to attend, and Zillow and Follow Up Boss have asked that we come on, the folks that held the workshops, and have a secondary sort of online event for some folks. So invitations went out. My name is Phil Gerdes. I am out of Annapolis, Maryland. If you do not know me, I am an associate broker, a team leader, and the founder of Shift Immersive Coaching. So what I'd love for you guys to do to get us started off is open up the chat and let me know where you guys are calling from, or calling from is like a radio show. Let me know where you guys are located. What city and what state are you in? And by the way, this is a great way for you to build your referral network. We are going to be talking today about the psychology of sales, and that's what it's going to all be about. So let's get started in just a moment. But again, I want to see where you guys are from. That's going to be really important. Mount Dora, Florida. Tom, I didn't even know that was a place. Great to meet you. Also, while that's happening, I want to make sure cameras are on. That is going to be super your cameras. I can see you. Remember that I can't do this if I don't see you. I want to see your face. Wadsworth, Ohio. Maria. Again, I didn't know that was a place. It's really destroying how you say that, but great to see you. Pleasant Hill, California. I know about that one. Walla Walla, Washington. I definitely know about Walla Walla, Washington. Great to, and it's now your name, however, I'm going to destroy, so I'm not even going to try. Maria said using one hand. Okay. Oh, you spelled it wrong. Okay, there you go. Fine. All right, so we've got a bunch of people from different places here. Lincoln, Nebraska, the Dalles, Oregon. I don't know if I'm saying that right. A lot of people. I know we have Annapolis, Maryland showing up. But again, remember what we're doing today. We are simply going over what the workshop was all about at the Zillow Unlock event. So I think it's time to get started. Let me give you guys some ground rules. Let me share with you what we're going to do. If you know me, you know that I love taking notes. So I have my notebook here. I'm going to encourage that you do too. Even you folks that are super big on, hey, I've got my note taker, it's going to be on. Yeah, that's fine. But when you write information down, your mind typically retains it about 300% longer. So write as often and as much as you can, but at the same time, stay locked in as much as you can, because I think that is going to be a big deal when it comes to, hey, what am I getting out of this? The next thing I want you to know is, yes, we're talking about the psychology of sales. I am going to go over a bunch of great information with you guys. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to talk too much about how to level up your 2026. And the reason I'm not going to talk too much about how to level up your 2026 is because of, hold on, wait for it, drum roll, please. Because of this right here. Let me see. Boom. Where is it? There. This right here. This is the reason why I'm not going to talk too much about your 2026, because we are having a Shift Immersive Coaching business planning session. It is going to be on the 15th of the month. Yes, that is 3 days from now on the 15th of the month. And if you would like to check out that business planning session, it's totally free. You guys can all be a part of it. If you're not already a coaching client, it doesn't matter. Everyone and anyone can be a part of it. Just scan that code. So we're going to stop for just a moment, and I'm going to give you guys time to scan that code. While you're doing that, let me show you what's going to happen. When you scan that code, you're actually going to go to the Shift Immersive Coaching website. You're going to scroll up just a little bit. And when you scroll up just a hair, you're going to actually see the registration for that business planning session. So what I want to do is give you guys a second to register for that event. And while we're doing that, while we're giving you time to register for that business planning session, and I promise you, this is going to be different. It's not going to be that traditional, hey, here's your numbers, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're going to go over numbers. But if you're anything like me, you know that most people, they participate in traditional business planning sessions, they write all their numbers out, and then what they do is they close the book on it. and they probably look at it maybe once or twice, and if you're lucky, 3 or 4 times that year. But most people never go back and actually pay attention to what they wrote. So we're going to do things very, very different in that business planning session, and I want to encourage you guys to be a part of it. So scan the code, get registered. It's just a little bit of information, and then bam, you are good to go. Most people scan, they get registered, and they forget. So don't worry. We're going to make sure you guys have email reminders going out for the business planning session also. The next thing I want you guys to know while that's happening is I can see you, and crazy, this is going to be nuts, I can also see the slides, and you can see me, which means that we're not here to listen to me. This is workshop. We're here to participate and engage with me. So if you've ever done any type of session with me, you know that I like full engagement. So what we're going to do is I'm going to encourage you guys to get into the chat. I actually have the chat up on the left side of my screen, and I'm sorry, the right side of my screen. And in that chat, I'm going to be watching and reading your notes and doing my best to keep up with whatever questions you have. But please also know that if you have a question, feel free to hit that hand button anytime, and I'll do my best to work in your question and your answer. You'll come off mute and we'll rock and roll. So with that said, let's get started. I'm just going to screen back into this and bring us to the opening of our slide deck. Boom, and there it is. So this is all about how to win a deal, understanding the psychology of sales. Guys, I have spent so much time with so many incredible people talking about psychology and how psychology works as it pertains to the conscious and subconscious minds, how it works when it comes to what makes people move, and ultimately how to really just move people without touching them. And in today's session, yes, we have 90 minutes. Maybe we'll take that long. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll go a little shorter. We'll see. But in today's session, what I want to do with you is I really want to spend some time breaking down what moves people. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to face the facts. This is a stat that I was in Hudson, New York all week. I actually got back around 1 o'clock this morning, and this statistic came up. It's really, really neat, because when I think about this stat, I think to myself, how is this even possible? 80%, some of you know this, you're in real estate, 80% of all sales are actually earned by 20% of the people with real estate licenses. Now, here's what I know. That means there's 80% of people really struggling to get a good grip on their business. And I also know that that's just, while it is the reality, it's not a reality we want to be a part of. What makes it crazier, and I think this slide is actually written wrong, is that 80%, no, it's right. 80% of, no, it's wrong. 80% of those sales are actually done by 20%. I'm sorry, by 1%. So what I mean is this. You have 80% of all sales being done by 20% of the people, and 80% of those sales are done by 1% of those people. Why is that possible? Why are so few people actually converting at a high level? Like I said, I was in Hudson, New York, and I heard a lot of people say, well, it was a tough year, and it was a tough year, and it was a tough year. Why do so many people say it was a tough year, and then the year before was a tough year, and the year before was a tough year, but then you have this select group of individuals that feel the complete opposite. They feel totally different. They killed it in 2025. Their business leveled up. They hit levels that they never thought they would. They sold more homes, blessed more people, helped more people than they ever did in their entire career. Or maybe they just started and they did better in their first year than many veterans did in their 4th or 5th or 10th or 20th year. Why is that possible? Well, with that question, we got to ask, well, like, what if, it's crazy here, what if in just one workshop, you could be part of that upper echelon, that 20%? I firmly believe that that is possible. And the way I believe it's possible is by understanding that if we learn some psychological skills, some frameworks, if we learn some SOPs, if we learn how to, and this is the kicker, guys, if we learn how to move people without touching them, then we put ourselves in a position where we can create the change and the business that many of us are looking for. So again, before we really start running here, what I want to encourage you to do is I want to encourage you to, one, take notes, two, jump in that chat. Remember, I'm going to do everything I can to monitor the chat. But three, don't be shy, because if you have a question, the chances are, and you probably know this already, the chances are someone else has a similar question. And you asking it is not just going to answer the question and help you, it's actually going to help them too. So when you have a question, jump in and ask. I am here for you. Now, I'm looking at you right here on my screen. I also have my slides here for myself to get a closer look on. So when I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. And I'm also looking at you guys. All right. With that said, let's start hitting this up. Let's start covering something here. Why? Why in the world do so many real estate agents get in this industry and they say to themselves, well, you know what? This is it. This is going to give me, like, you'll probably laugh with me. It's going to give me the time I've been looking for. Like, I'm going to be able to set my own hours, right? I'm going to be able to put myself in a position where I can sort of like be everywhere and do all the things I want and live the life I want. And then they get in the industry and they struggle. It's because most people don't know how to generate a business that generates them business. So what if today we could figure that out? Let's figure out how to generate a business that generates you business. And then the second reason I think that we struggle with that is because even when we figure out what exactly it takes to generate a business that generates you business, what oftentimes we do is we say, and you just by a show of hands, let me know if you've ever felt this way, or you've met someone that felt this way, or you've heard about someone that's felt this way. Yeah, I know what to do, but it's just too hard. Has anyone else ever about that, heard that, or felt that way? Yeah. It's like, I know what to do, but it's just too darn hard, right? Nadia did a thumbs up. Tom threw his hand up. Heather put her hand up. Yeah, it's like, I got it. So let's simplify it. Victoria with the thumbs up. Let's simplify it a little bit by focusing on the psychology. Well, the first thing we do, if we're going to focus on the psychology, is we don't think about the client. We need to make a shift for ourselves. And that first shift that I am a firm believer we are going to hear so much about industry-wide in 2026, because I'd argue that it's already started. I'd argue that in 2025, the conversation has already started. And that is simple: impact over transaction. Right now, we work in an industry where so many folks are thinking, hey, I just got to get another sale. I just got to get another sale. I just got to get another sale. And I'm here to tell you, I just got to get another sale is really something, you know what it is? It's something I call main character syndrome. It's where all you're really caring about is putting yourself in a position where you make another buck. And who wants to work with someone like that? Like, wait, imagine I was your agent. You're not in the industry, okay? You're not in real estate at all. And I come to you and I say, hey, you know, you're looking to buy a house. Great. I want to work with you because I just want to make some money. And then you're like, what? And I just say, look, I want to get paid. So can we speed this up? Can we do this as fast as we possibly can? Because I have some bills to pay next month and I really want to get your money. Like, no one would want to work that way. And the fact is that most of us, I don't think any of us, but maybe there's a crazy situation where someone says something like that, but most people are not saying that with their words. I want you to think about that for a moment. Most people are not saying that with their words, but in fact, many real estate agents say that with their actions. And the problem that I see is that many people are saying that with their actions before they ever secure the client. They're saying the impact is not nearly as important as me getting paid. And they say it before they ever get the client. I mentioned Ikra. I said we were talking about her earlier because Ikra is one of our coaching clients, and she was talking about a major win that she had. And the crazy part about it is it wasn't crazy at all. That was the crazy part about it. It wasn't crazy at all, right? I see her nodding her head. Like, the reality is it was all about consistency. She shared that in our vault. She said it was all about consistency. So if we're going to get consistent in actions, let's first get consistent in the mind shift that we need to create to actually move forward with the actions that are going to get us what we want in business. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If we're going to do that, we need, because I don't think it works unless we understand the power of impact. And there's a guy, his name's Jim. He's got a great story. And I want to share it with you. And the reason I want to share it with you is because I think that it completely exemplifies what impact really is. And I'm going to share it with you. if we have time later at the end of our session, I'm going to share with you the story of Jim and Starbucks and the impact that Jim made on some Starbucks employees and the impact that some Starbucks employees made on Jim. But instead of sharing that with you right now, I want to tell you about two people who are near and dear to my heart. Their names are Mimi and Wayne. And this is going to be a great example of why focusing on your client's value and focusing on your client's impact is more important than any dollar you're going to make. And in turn, is going to end up generating you more revenue for yourself as a business and as a company. Well, what do we need to do? We need to understand Mimi and Wayne. Mimi and Wayne came to me through, funny enough, when I first told this story at a Zillow event, a Zillow Follow-Up Boss event, it didn't even click to me. It was not planned, but they were a Zillow lead. Yep. Like, it's the reality of it. They were a Zillow lead. And they came to me as a Zillow lead, and Mimi said to me, Phil, here's the deal. We want to buy a new house, and we have one caveat. Look, when I hear that, alarms go off. And here's why alarms go off. Because I'm thinking they're going to give me something totally crazy, and that's probably why they haven't bought a house yet. And it's going to be totally absurd, and no one's going to be able to do this one thing, because if you have one thing, it's probably one crazy thing. And then a separate alarm goes off, and that alarm's like, wow, this is great. All they care about is one thing. If I just find the one thing, they're definitely going to buy a house, and that's going to be fantastic. Mimi's one thing was simple. It was, I want to buy a house and live somewhere where I can walk down the street and hold Wayne's hand. Now, when I heard that, I was like, wow. Like, talk about just being real. Talk about being a human for a moment. Talk about moving somebody with the intention of, you know what, this just isn't just about a darn sale. This is about creating someone's next chapter with them. And when the idea of creating someone's next chapter with them comes up, let me share with you how this worked. Well, Mimi said, I want to be able to hold Wayne's hand. And we went and we decided, okay, let's do it. Let's start looking for homes. Guys, they found the perfect place. They found the absolute perfect place. It was perfect. And when I say it was perfect, I mean, it was so perfect that when we were doing the walkthrough, when we were going through that house, they actually started moving furniture around. Like, these guys fell in love so much with this home that they started moving furniture around, like positioning it where they would have put their furniture. It was amazing. And then I said, wow, like, this is it. And in my area at the time, the average price point was $450,000, and this was a $750,000 property. So in my mind, I'm like, this is perfect. Not only did they find their perfect home on the first day we went out, but not only did they find their perfect home on the first day we went out, and it was, I believe it was like the second home we went to, but they're in love. So this is going to be an easy transaction. So they're inside and they're moving around furniture. And I'm like, I'm going to step out and let them really envision home. So walk through this with me for a moment. Imagine this for a minute. They're envisioning home, guys. And as they're envisioning home, they go and it was really crazy and beautiful. They go and start moving things around. And what I do is I go outside. And I walk out front, and when I walk out front, I walk to the front of the house and to the curb, and I say, oh no, we have a problem. You see, we have a problem because I look to my right, and I've told the story before. I looked to my left, and I looked across the street, and I said, oh my goodness, oh, we have a problem. So I turn around, I yell for Mimi. It's a beautiful spring day. I yell for Mimi. I said, Mimi, come outside. Mimi comes outside. And she stands right to my left. And I say, Mimi, look to the right. Mimi, look to the left. Mimi, look across the street. And she says, okay, yeah. I said, Mimi, where are you going to walk? And the problem is, this house was on a street with no sidewalks that should have been like in the next F1 Grand Prix. Like, this was not a walkable street at all. They fell in love with the house, forgetting their actual intention. And my job as an agent was to get the next paycheck. So I was like, no, see, that's not my job. That's what most people would do. They'd be like, hey, it's no big deal. They love the house. They're already moving furniture around. And in my mind, I'm like, we got to put this furniture back because this ain't going to work. Because the reality is they would have never been able to do the thing they were moving for. I want you to write that down. The thing they're moving for. We're going to pause on this story for a minute because this is really key. When we're thinking about psychology of sales and when we're thinking about, hey, look, I got to help people. I need to move people without touching them. I want to build my real estate business and my career. What we should be focused on above and beyond everything and anything else is figuring out what people are moving for. So I want you to remember that because I'm going to show you a 4-step system that helps you determine what people are moving for. So let's jump back in the story. Mimi is ecstatic. That's right. I thought she'd be heartbroken. She is not. She's ecstatic. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Phil. We would have made the worst mistake ever. The very next day, a house on First Street, it's literally on First Street, pops up on the market for over $1 million. We go see it. And Mimi truly falls in love. And here's how I knew she fell in love. And I haven't shared this part with people. Because when we got to the home, I realized she was already in love before we ever walked in. Mimi was in the front yard looking around. She was loving it. She was looking around the back. Like she was falling in love. And then we walked in and everything from the outside connected with the inside and everything worked. We put an offer in on that home. They got it. And mark my words, today, you will walk through downtown Annapolis in Maryland, where I live, and you will see Mimi and Wayne holding hands, walking down the street, both now retired, loving life. And you might say, well, Phil, that's a great story, but that's just one transaction and I want to build a business. But here's the kicker. Mimi and Wayne then asked us to sell their condo at the beach. So we did. And then they asked us to help them buy a condo at the beach. So we did. And then they asked, can we help their daughter buy? So we did. And then they asked, can we help a friend of their daughter buy? So we did. And then they asked, can we help a friend of them buy? So we did. Because what they realized is it was not at any point in time about the transaction, not to us. You see, to us, it was about doing what we said we were going to do in the first place. Honor what they were moving for, not honor the idea of how do I make another buck? Because that's just not what it's about when you're thinking long-term business, big business, and ultimate success in your market. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen again. All right. And we're going to jump into me actually giving you the tools, the psychological tools to really level this thing up. And remember, if we have time, I'm going to tell you about my buddy, Jim. All right. So in order to do that, what I want to do is I want to share with you a system within a method that I created. It's called the Profitable Persuasion Method. And within the Profitable Persuasion Method, there is a system called the 4 phases of effective conversation. I do not believe that you can ever learn, review, practice this system too much. In fact, true story, I got home right around 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was going over this system with my wife last night. Well, I guess this morning. Okay, that's how much I believe that you can't learn this too much. But before I go into it, for you guys that are like, well, how do you know this works? Well, above and beyond the story with Mimi and Wayne, I want you to know a little bit more about my time in real estate. Yes, I'm a team leader, but I wasn't always a team leader. I was a solo agent. And when I was a solo agent, because I'm in Maryland, if you don't know this, in the state of Maryland, you have to be a solo agent or an agent on a team for 3 years before you can ever start your own team, which I think is a great rule. Now, it's not a rule I knew when I started in real estate. I actually thought I was going to get into real estate and start a team. My broker at the time was like, no, you're not. You actually got to learn what you're doing before you try and help other people do it, right? And what I did was my first year in real estate, I sold 38 homes. My very first year, 38 homes. My second year in real estate, that number went up to 64. And my third year, it went up to 132. So when I'm sharing this stuff with you, I'm not just sharing an idea, right? I'm literally saying, this is what I did. When we go over the business planning session on the 15th that I invited you guys to, and I'll put the QR code back up in a bit, I'm not just going to say to you, here's a bland, everyday business planning session. No, I'm going to show you exactly how we planned, how numbers are important, but actions and psychology and workflows are far more important. But what we need to do is we need to commit to the actions that it takes to build. And the first thing I think we need to learn are the 4 phases of a truly effective conversation. So if you've heard this before, if you've worked through this before, then what I want you to do is, while I'm doing this, yes, I want you to take notes, but I want you to run through practice in your mind. How would you use it today? How did you not use it in conversations you've had already today? And how might you have been able to adjust conversations today so that you could use it? So here's all 4 phases. I'm not going to one at a time, I'm going to give it to you, right? We're just going to lay it on you. So I'll run through all 4 and then I'll break down what they are. So listen, ask questions, understand, and respond. Now, for someone on here that's going to say, well, that seems really darn simple, Phil. Like that is cut and dry. You're right. It is. It's not magic when you first look at it. You know, what it boils down to is that the reason why 80% of production is done by 20% of agents and 80% of that production is done by the top 1% of agents is because they understand how to have an effective conversation that leads people to what they're moving for. So when I say listen, the first step is you write down listen. Underneath that, what I want you to do is I want you to actually write actively listen. Now, when I say actively listen, it is vitally important for us to understand what active listening really is. Because a lot of times people think active listening is just the act of paying attention. And I'm here to tell you that is not active listening. Paying attention is just respect. That's not active listening at all. In fact, just by a show of hands, or just do me a favor, go in the chat and write me, just me. If you've ever had a conversation with someone and you knew full well they were not listening to you at all, they were not paying attention. I'm going to start this off. I'm going to write me because I need you to, well, now there's a lot of me's coming in the chat, right? Like me, holy smokes. Like they're just flowing in because you're having this conversation with people. And then you have someone like Terry Kelly. She just wrote the number 1, which I guess I'm the one. I don't know, Terry, whatever, right? But here's the thing. I've had conversations with people and you can just sort of tell they're not listening. So what really is active listening? The first thing I want us to understand is active listening is done more without your ears than with your ears. It's done more without your ears than with your ears. Yes, Terry, you were not listening. By the way, I'm commenting on Terry in the chat. So if your chat's not open, open the chat because I'm watching it and I want to talk with you. All right. I think that's Tom that's laughing, and I'm wondering if Tom knows Terry, and Tom might be like, yeah, that's Terry. That's how she works. So, or maybe not. So listening actively is done less with your ears than anything else. So what's the number 1 way? Chase is cracking up. What is the number 1 way that you can actively listen? Here it is, guys. It's so darn simple and it's so darn true. And I want us all to understand it is actually done through body language. Your body language exemplifies listening more than anything else you can do. All right, but Phil, hold on a second. That presents me with a bit of an issue. And Phil, the reason it presents me with a bit of an issue is because, and this is crazy, Phil, I do a lot of business on the phone. So how is it possible that active listening is done mostly through body language? All right, Terry, pay attention. We're going to ask for some engagement here. So Terry, pay attention. How many of you, just throw another me in there, how many of you can hear someone smiling on the phone? You know when someone's smiling on the phone. Yeah, exactly, right? That's body language. I don't know if you know, but your mouth, it's part of your body. That's body language. Okay, here's another one. I didn't see Terry's comment. I don't know if she responded or not, but I see a lot of you have. Here's another one. Just write stand. Write stand in the chat if you can tell when someone's standing or sitting while you're on the phone with them. You can hear that they're standing. Some of you guys are writing stand, some of you are writing sometimes. Yeah, right? So body language is super important. Here, let me give you one more. And this time you're going to write supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Okay, no, you're not. This one's another one. How many of you can actually tell when someone is super vibrant on the phone? Like you're talking with someone and they're using their hands, right? Like I'm originally from New York, so I have a lot of this when I'm talking, right? There's a whole lot of this. In fact, write NY. If you can write New York, if you know it, just write NY in there. Right? Yeah. And you can just hear someone just talk. What are you doing? We're talking with my hands. That's what I do. That's how I talk. That's how I express myself. Well, here's the thing I want you to know, especially in front of someone, when you're listening to them and you're listening actively, it looks a little bit like this. It sounds a little bit like, oh, wow, really? Oh my goodness. Here's what it doesn't sound like. Please understand. Here's what it doesn't sound like. It doesn't sound like. Okay, well, before you finish, it doesn't sound like the beginning of your sentence jumping right into the middle of theirs. That's not active listening. So the first thing is how to truly actively listen. Your body language and your responses, short, late night FM DJ voice. That's active listening. Late night FM DJ voice. What's your late night FM DJ voice? It's when you drop it down an octave. Oh, wow. Now look at my body language, right? So it's when you drop it down an octave. Oh, wow. My whole body sunk down. My hand went on my head. I leaned in, right? It's letting people know I am part of this. But check this out. When someone says, Phil, what I'm really looking for is the perfect place. I retired a year ago. Wayne's going to retire in 1 year. And we're just looking for the perfect place to walk down the street, hold hands, and enjoy life. It's leaning back. Oh my goodness. That is, wow. It's that. It's letting people know that you can feel the intention and the passion and the power in what they're saying. This is active listening. All right. So now we have listen. What was number 2? Let me give you my screen back. All right. So number 2, we know we have listen. Number 2 is simple. It's ask questions. Right. So Phil, ask questions. Everyone asks questions. No, they don't. What most people do is they disguise their advice in the form of a question. Hey, wouldn't it be great if we went to actually just look at homes that were this instead? Yeah, that's a question, but it's really your advice. So here is the number 1 question any human can ever ask. In fact, I'm not going to tell you yet. I want you to tell me. Tell me, what is the number 1 question? Put it in the chat. The number 1 question any human can ever ask, ever. Someone give it to me in the chat. I'm going to hold for just a moment. Why? There it is. Why? Now, I see Ikra actually wrote, really? And here's what I want you guys to know. First, let's cover why. We grow up asking why, and then we're told because I said so. Don't do that. That's not it. Understand when someone asks why, they're locked in and they want to understand more. So why and all forms of why it's the best thing you can say. But when someone says something to you and you say, why? Maybe that's how you say it. Or another one is, really? Or I see Grace wrote, what for? Or maybe you can say something like, you know what? That sounds great. Tell me more about that. These are all forms of why. When you engage in conversation with someone and ask more questions so that you can figure out what they're moving for, it changes the game because something happens to the person and it's twofold. So here's the first thing. The more questions you ask, not only are you in control, but check this out. The more questions you ask, the more the person you're talking with feels that you are engaged, curious, and want to serve. You want to be a solution to whatever they need. Asking more questions, getting them to open up, showing genuine interest. Every time you ask a question, you lean in, you late night. Oh my goodness. Oh, that makes sense. I understand. right? The more, the better. But then the other thing that it does is it gives you your tools, guys. It gives you your tools. Because if you don't ask enough questions, what ends up happening is you send people a bunch of houses that they never wanted in the first place, and then they feel like they were, what, dude, was Phil even listening? Was Phil even listening when I told him this, and this? So what we need to do is we need to listen, but then we also want to make sure that we are asking incredibly intuitive, but important, but specific, intentional questions. And those should all start with some form of why. But here's the hack that I want everyone to know that is not a secret. Yes, it is a hack. No, it is not a secret. Take notes. When someone is talking with you, do not be, all right, let me help you. Do not be the waiter at the restaurant that tries to remember the entire order. I don't know about you, but folks, if you are even a little bit like me, that really stresses you out. Because when I tell you my hyper specific order that I am so picky, it's insane. And you're just like, your hands are behind your back. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know you. And I just don't believe you're going to remember my insanely specific order. And now the whole time I'm waiting for my food, I'm like, there's no way. I gave 37 alterations to the mac and cheese. There is no way on earth. I literally brought my own noodles for them to boil. There's no way they're going to remember this stuff. Like, there's just no darn way. Folks, don't be that person, because check this out. Watch how you can further engage in asking questions. Hey, can you tell me that one again? I'm taking some notes on this. Oh, wait, well, isn't this about psychology? It is. So since it's about psychology, Terry, I'm going to come to you. I see your hand up. Since it's about psychology, let me break down what that actually does. It affirms to the person that not only are you listening, but you're listening enough to ask for clarity, which must mean when someone asks for clarity, they typically look for details. People that look for details are detail-oriented. People that are detail-oriented typically don't forget what's important. If they are asking questions that are looking for details to gain clarity, guess what? They must want to know what's important to me. If they want to know what's important to me, oh my goodness, I think they're my people. And if we're in real estate and we believe in this know, like, and trust concept, then we need to understand that people know, like, and trust their people. So that's why this becomes super darn important for you to spend time asking questions. All right, Terry, come off mute, jump in. I know you're in your car. You can't, we'll go in the chat. Go for it with your question.
So I just have a question, and I'm curious. There's a lot of note takers out there. Like, I have a plot. And so generally when I go on an appointment, I'm taking that with me in case I miss something. Do you feel like it's less personal if we're not physically writing it down? Or is it okay if we utilize something like that?
First off, this is a fantastic question, Terry, because number one, like, I see all the note takers in the chat, right? Here's the thing. I don't think it's less personal. I know it's less personal. I know it is. And here's why I know it. Because if I don't see it happening as a client, why would I think it's happening? And even if you tell me, well, I have this and it's going to take notes, guess what? I'm not trained in my subconscious. My brain is not working to remind myself when I'm having this subconscious conversation and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I hope she remembers this. I'm not trained to know, oh, well, that's actually listening and taking notes. But here's the kicker. I'm actually put in a state a lot of times, a lot of people, where they feel uncomfortable because something's listening to them and it's not human. Guys, impact is made by being human first. So I'm not telling you not to have it. I'm simply telling you it shouldn't in today's day and age. Maybe in 3 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20, I don't know, right? Not a future teller, but maybe it becomes the norm. But today it is not the norm. So maybe it is an addition, but it shouldn't be everything. That's the first reason that I'm not a huge fan of that. And the second reason is this. Remember what we said in the very beginning. The human mind retains information on average 300% longer when you write it down. Why wouldn't we write it down? Let me give you guys a little tip. Oftentimes, the most successful people in industry find the best human way to accomplish the same task as everyone else. Not the fastest way, the best human way. That might mean engage and employ tools, but it doesn't mean take the humanity out of the use of the tools. Okay. So Terry, I think that answers you. Yeah, I see you nodding. All right, beautiful, beautiful. And guys, just first off, thank you, Terry, for being the first person that put your hand up. Your prize is on the way. Here it is. High five. So yeah, thank you. I see you did it back. And anyone else that has a question, go ahead and ask it. You will not get a prize. Terry got the prize. There's only one high five going out today. But yeah, so there we go. All right, so ask questions. We got it. We understand the concept of asking questions. Understand. Man, what does that mean, right? What does it really mean to understand? Well, here's what it is. When you understand something, oftentimes what we do as humans is we say, all right, I get it. I understand. I need you to know you understanding does nothing for the client. The client knowing you understand does everything for the client. I'm going to give you a second. I want you to write your version of that down. You understanding does nothing for the client. The client knowing you understand does everything for the client. So what does that mean? It means proper articulation of understanding is done when you articulate that you understand. In other words, Terry said it. You repeat back what the client said. Some of you might say, oh, okay. So what I'm hearing you say is this. Some of you might say, well, because you mentioned earlier. Some of you might say, hey, I just want to get this right because I love what you're doing. And never, just a little hack. I'm going to give you these hacks here. Never say, I just want to get this right and then repeat what they said, because that appears like you're confused. Instead, I just want to get this right and then add an edification point in. What's an edification point? I just want to get this right because I love what you're saying. So what that does is it's saying, I just want to get this right because I think you're my people. Let me confirm, I think you're my people. Right? People don't, have you ever worked with someone in anything and the whole time you're like, how fast can we do this? Like, you're not my people. Like, I don't, right? Like this, like that's a real thing. So when they realize that you are testing and confirming and reaffirming that they are your people, they start saying, well, if I'm Phil's people, could Phil be my people? Holy smokes, I think I found my person. What you're going to find is, I'll give you a great example, short story. One time, and if you know me, you know, I started my real estate business with no SOI deals except for one transaction, one person, one deal. Everything else was me just like finding business. And where did I find business? I called expireds, I called FSBOs, and that was my thing. I remember I called a FSBO one day and I'm on the phone. I'm going to make this story short. I'm on the phone with the FSBO and the gentleman answers the phone and he's like, look, you know, we built this house. We acquired the land. We built the house ourselves. We were the GCs ourselves. It's beautiful, but we have to sell it for this. We can't afford to sell it for less. And for that reason, we can't afford an agent. Now, I want you guys to understand something. While I'm talking to this gentleman, his wife is in the background. Who are you talking to? Is it another realtor? Just get off the phone. Just get off the phone. We're not working with an agent. I hear the woman and I say, man, it sounds like you guys have had a rough time with this. Yeah, it's been a rough time, blah, blah, blah. We're kind of in over our head, everything else. I said, I'll tell you what, right? Because here's the deal, guys. If we're really going to do this right, we need to be service-based agents, not transaction-based agents. We need to be impact-based agents, not if you pay me, then I'll help you based agents. But Phil, doesn't that go against everything that it is to build a business? No. It actually goes for everything that it is to build a brand. So I want you to think about that for a moment. So this gentleman is telling me, no, they can't work with an agent. The wife is yelling in the background, just hang up on him. Literally, just hang up on him. Okay. And I say, I'll tell you what, all the stuff that we've done on the team and blah, 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 success and everything. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually just going to come out to the house. I'm not going to bring anything with me. I promise you, I'm not even going to ask you to list your house with me. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you what, you tour me through the house. I'll show you how I tour people through the house, and I'll show you everything I would do with every single room when it comes to staging, marketing, and everything else we would do to sell the house. The gentleman says, why would you do that? And I say, why wouldn't I? It's just the right thing to do. So I drive out to the house. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I hang up the phone, I say, just one more thing. Can your wife hear me? He says, yes. I say, great. I want you to know that I will bring nothing with me. I will not have comps. I will not have a listing agreement. I will not have anything. But before I leave, you are going to throw your hands up and ask me to sell your house. All right. I go to the house. True darn story. I go to the house. I do everything I said I was going to do. We are in this house for over an hour. And by the way, they did an incredible job. Like, these guys understand design, build, flow, the whole deal when it comes to real estate. They just don't know how to keep it under a certain profit margin. All right. But they know how to build. Walking through the house, we're done. We get back to the kitchen. There is a giant island in this kitchen. This island was like 15 by 8. It was beautiful. And kid you not, right when we're finished, the wife walks to the far end of the island. Think psychology. She's about to submit to something. So sometimes when we submit to something, we need to move away to feel more comfortable. She moves to the far end of the island, literally does this. You just sell it for us. She literally threw her hands in the air and said, you just sell it for us. Guys, had I said, oh, okay, well, you can't work with anyone, it doesn't matter, I'm going to make my next call. Had I been transaction over impact, had I been transaction over service first, I would have never got that listing. So it's super important to understand the importance of impact first. Build your brand, build your business, build who you are based on how do I serve. All right, let's get back to understand. So when I'm showing someone how to understand, what I need to do is this. I need to say, if understand is important, then I need to make sure you understand that I understand. And here's how I do it. Okay, so, man, I want to know how to say your name. I know you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, get off mute and tell me how to say it.
Nefertiri.
Nefertiri. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys know why I didn't know. Don't act like I can't read, okay? This was not an easy one. All right, Nefertiri. Nefertiri, for the sake of me and how many times I'll probably mess that up, do you have a nickname?
You can call me Neff.
Awesome. I was hoping you'd say that, because that I can do. All right. You see what she did? She was like, my name has 39 and a half letters in it. You can just use 4. Phil, I see you. You can use 4. Grace, don't laugh at me that way. All right. All right. So, geez. So what I might do is I might say, all right, Neff, look, I heard, I'm hearing everything you're saying, and I just want to make sure, because this is really important. And I think you're onto something, Neff. What you're saying is that, yeah, you want to make sure you have the bedrooms and the bathrooms and all that's important. But what really is important to you is it's that feeling you get right around this time of year. And that dream you've always had since you were younger of not just having a Christmas tree in, but you want that 2-story Christmas tree that when you walk in the house, people are like, wow. In fact, that you want that Christmas tree that when people drive by your house, you can see them slowing down because they see it through the window. You want that type of Christmas tree. Neff, am I nailing this? Is that what you're saying? What did I do there, guys? I didn't just show them I understood. I put them in, write this down. I put them into a story-based feeling. I put them into a story-based feeling. They said, I want a 2-story Christmas tree. I showed them what they would feel having a 2-story Christmas tree. And I did that by saying, let me make sure I understand, because this sounds really great to me. So the first thing, triggers. What's triggering? The first thing that's happening is, oh my goodness, I think he gets me. The second thing is, oh my goodness, he agrees with me. The third thing is, forget him. I can see it. Oh my goodness, I can see it. The fourth thing is, Logic comes back. Who helped me see that? It was him. He's my people. That's how you help people understand. Guys, I told you that my first year I sold 38 homes. My second year I sold 64. My third I sold 132. And I want you to know, typically we were 60 to 70%. So my first 3 years as a solo agent, 60 to 70% listing based. And here's the kicker. 98.99% of all listing appointments that I have gone on in my career, I have signed the very first time I went on the appointment. Because I've never been, look at this page, look at this page, look at this page, look at this page. It's never been, I will this, I will this, I will this, I will this. It's always been listen, ask questions, understand, respond. It's always been about them, not me. And it hasn't been just how can I serve them? It's been all about them. Connection over everything. That's the key. Human first. I have a saying, I have a slide. It's not on here. Some of you have seen it. The slide literally says, be human, realtors suck. It says, be human, realtors suck. Because the truth and the reality of it is that too many people just want to be a realtor. And so many people, let me help you guys with this and then we'll go to respond. People want to be a realtor so much that they don't even know how to say the word. Because I got to tell you something. It's not realtor. Yeah, I said it. I'm going to say it again. It's not realtor. It's realtor. Yeah, there's no A in the middle. It's REALTOR, not ATOR. That's how bad we are. Correction. That's how good we are at being bad at the thing we're supposed to be good at. So what I'm encouraging you guys to do is stop being a realtor. Just be human. You were made human, be human, and take all that humanity and bless other people with it, serve other people with it. Let's get to respond. So now I've confirmed I've understood. Now I go to respond. Here's how respond works. Respond works like this. It's the simplest of all three aspects of this system. Responding is simply a full, write this down. Respond is a full conversational recap with the next event. That's all it is. Full conversational recap with the next event. So all I'm going to do, because remember, I'm a crazy guy. I do new things, shiny penny syndrome. I take paper and pen and I write notes. I know it's not that new. Like people have been doing this before I was even an idea, let alone on earth. Right? So here's the crazy idea here. I'm just going to go to my notes. I'm going to be like, all right, Neff. You see what I did there? Neff. We go way back. It's Neff to me. It's the other long name to you guys. So here's Neff. You know, this has been like really perfect. Like you guys nail it. And let me tell you something, Neff, because there's a lot of people that we work with. They don't have an idea of what they want and what they're doing and why they're even doing it. But you guys are so locked in. So let me just confirm a few things here because I love this. Neff, you are boom, 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 boom. And I just repeat to them a full conversational recap. And then I hit them with this magic transition. Transitions are important. All right, so because of that, it seems like what we need to do next is, because of that, what is going to work best is, all right, because of that, and I just hit you with a because of that. Because of that, because of what? Everything you said, right? I just did the conversational recap. So because of that, and then I just give you back what we're doing next to serve what you're moving for. Now, here's the issue that we're going to run into with this, and then we're going to move on. And guys, I want you all to know this is your absolute so far lock-in moment. And some of you guys are like, that's crazy because I've been locked in. This is your lock-in moment. If you are thinking about what you're going to say while you're having this conversation, you have already lost them because you are not actively listening. Instead, what we must do is listen and be prepared to respond based on what was said. Well, Phil, my brain doesn't work like that. I don't think that fast. I'm not like on fire like that. That's okay. I have a hack for you. I have a hack for you. Here's your hack. Why? That's your hack. Believe it or not, your hack is to literally just say, when you need time to figure out what to say next, just say, can you give me a little more on that? That's just a form of why. So dig deeper, dive a little deeper on that for me. Help me understand a little more. Help me understand a little more on that. Because when they're sharing that, you're listening, they are building your next response for you if you stick to the 4 phases. And the last thing I want to say about the 4 phases is this. Every and any time you're in your respond phase and a question is asked, you go back to listen, ask questions, understand, respond. You are starting over. So if I'm giving you that respond, if I'm giving you that full conversational recap, and you come back to me and you say, okay, what about this? Great. Well, let me tell you, what about that? Why don't you expand a little bit? Help me understand a little more about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you mean. Oh, really? Why is that? Oh, and what would it mean if this? Okay, so what? Oh, wow. Okay, so what you're saying is, now I'm in the understand part. Oh, I love that. So what we're basically doing here is full conversational recap, take to the next event. If a question is asked, start over again. Do you see? This doesn't end until they are finished. Do you know what most women feel in a relationship and do not like the feeling of? Folks, jump in the chat and tell me what it is. What is the feeling that most women have when they say they're in a relationship and they don't like that feeling? What is it? There you go. Nadia nailed it. Not being heard, not being listened to. That's the key. Do you know what most men really hate in most relationships? They don't like this feeling. Not being heard, not being listened to. My point is, it doesn't matter who you're talking to. People want to feel heard. They want to know that you were listened. You were listening. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, but what about this client? It doesn't matter. People want to know that you care. They want to know that you care. So show them that. Because again, we run around saying no, like, trust, no, like, trust, but we don't give people time to get to know us and we don't get to know them. We don't give people time to get to know us and we don't get to know them. So therefore, there's no way for them to decide if they like us and if we like them. And if you don't like someone, most of the time, you don't trust them. So you got to take the time to slow down and really connect with your people. All right, we got no, like, trust. Before I continue, I'm going to bring the slides back up. Questions. Go for it. Put your hand up. Let me know if you have questions. And remember, Terry got the prize. Don't ask for another prize. Okay, there was only one for the day. But are there any questions that you guys have? I'm going to have a bit of my coffee. All right. Beautiful. Killing it. Let's keep going. So what's next? Well, here's what's next. If it really is about, hey, 4 phases of conversation, got to get to the know, like, and trust, got to do that through listening, asking questions, understanding, and responding, taking people to the next event. How do we really build this out through the rest of our time together? And in order to do that, I'm going to share with you just a few of the 12 core elements of psychology. Now, we won't have time to get into all of these, okay? We've got about 31 minutes left to be together here. So we won't have time to get into all of these, but I will show you how to use some of these at the end of our time together, just a bit perhaps, but definitely at our business planning session. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit more time for you all that haven't done this to scan the code, open up the site, and make sure you get registered for the business planning session, because I don't want you to miss it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I don't want you to miss the darn thing, because it's not going to be your everyday runabout business planning session. All right, time's up. Don't worry, it'll be back. But for right now, I'm going back to the slide. Boom. All right, so here we are. 12 core. Number 1, motivation. Number 2, emotion. Number 3, perception. And number 4, cognition. Let's cover motivation. For this, I'm going to look at my notes. Yep, because remember, I have them. So motivation, what is motivation? Number 1, understand, please, that motivation is personal. Motivation and inspiration are oftentimes mixed up and confused. Inspiration is a feeling other people can help you have. Motivation is what gets you up and going. It is yours. It is internal. It's what drives a person to act on a goal. So here's a hack, folks. Not a hack for your listings, not a hack for your buyers, a hack for you, your life, and your business. Get clear on your motivations. Get clear on your motivations. All right, now here's the thing. I'm going to ask you all to do something. Get ready. You're going to get in that chat. The first person to do this gets absolutely nothing. You're just going to be the first person. So I like to have fun. What is the point if not to enjoy ourselves? All right, so here we go. What I want you to do, don't do it until I'm done, because I can tell, I know someone's ready. Like someone's got their hands on the key. I'm going to be first. I'm going to be first. I want to win absolutely nothing. Right? So don't do that. What I want you to do, and it's Victoria, she's ready. She's like, I'm just going to start typing now. Eventually something I say will be what he's going to ask. Like, that's it. I love you, Victoria. So here's the deal. What I want you to do is I want you to share one motivation you have that's going to get you to your goal in 2026. Now, before you do that, don't do it yet. Please understand, I am asking not for I'm at a big event, everyone's jumping around, dancing. All right, guys, now write down your why or scream out your why, because that's BS. That's what you say in a crowd because it sounds good, but you're never even going to work towards. Here's an example. Dude, you know what? It's the new year. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. And you don't even go get a gym membership. That's crazy. The second Friday of the year is the literal last busiest day at every gym in the United States because it's the cancellation day. It's when people cancel their plans that they got on the first. Guys, I want to encourage you not to just write down some fictitious why. I want to encourage you to delve deeper, to really think what motivates you. What is the thing that will motivate you? And here's how I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you the way I do it. Now, you do it your way because your way is right because it's yours. But here's mine, and maybe you borrow mine. I never think with this when I'm thinking about what motivates me. I think with this. Logic talks you out of things. Heart drives you to accomplish things. So leave the head out. Go crazy. Just give me somebody. Let's see who's first. What is going to be your motivator? Tom said, helping other people have that light bulb moment. Dude, Tom, that feels good. Like, you know, that feels good. That's why you wrote it. Maria said, people to remember me as a person who cared for them. Holy smokes, Maria, could you imagine 3-4 Christmases from now? The person you helped this year says, dude, you remember when we first saw this house with Maria? You remember when she told us, when we doubted it, she was like, no, you guys can do it. This could be yours. I'll help you. I'll be with you till the end and after. Holy smokes. Victoria, I have experience not being seen, and I refuse to allow my community to feel the same way. Amen. Wow. Right? Like, no, I know what this feels like, and I am motivated to make sure that when you are with me, you never feel what that feels like. In fact, you are so overwhelmed with the opposite that you can never forget that feeling. You yearn for it. You look for it. Nicole said, to be the best human being I can, because most are not like that. It is sad, but it is oftentimes true. All right, so we've got these motivations. Some of you are, I'm not going to write my motivation out here. Phil, this is being recorded. The people from Zillow are gonna watch this. The people from Follow Up Balls, and well, I don't need them knowing my deep personal. That's okay, because it's your motivation. It doesn't belong to someone else. It's yours. One more. Nadia said, I want to do this for my family. I want to do this so my husband works less. I want to do this to help people achieve the goal of home ownership. Nadia, I got to tell you, that's beautiful. I love that husband works less part. When you are doing it for the heart in your heart, man, that'll keep a person motivated. I love it, Nadia. So motivation. Now, what does that mean? I don't know if you're catching this. I'm not sure if you're like most people that have figured this out already. But what if you found the motivation of the people you work with? What if your listing appointment was built around figuring out their motivations so that when you're helping them sell and it gets hard, because it's gonna, when you're helping them buy and it gets hard and frustrating and worrisome because they're going to lose the opportunity, they're going to put the offer in and they're not going to get it. What if you had the, guys, it's okay. It's going to be all right. Remember, we're not doing this for a house. We're doing it for a home. We're doing it for a place where you can wake up every day, hold hands, walk down the street and know that you built this, that all the work that you put in for years and years and years came down to the thing that matters most, each other. Motivation. Phil, that sounds like Hobnosh. 38, 64, 132. Solo agent. It's not Hobnosh, it's human. You see, what I learned a long time ago was I don't have to figure out how to sell someone something. I just have to figure out how to be the person they always wish they could be around. That's it. Well, how do I figure out how to be the person they always wish they could be around? Well, just be the person I always wish I could be around. Just put my money where my mouth is. Better said, put my actions where my heart is. Let's keep moving. Emotion. Well, brother, good thing it's emotion because I was getting emotional. Yeah, I know. Emotion. Emotion is a primary driving force for decision making. Write that down. Emotion is a primary driving force for decision making. Folks, my friends here, I want you all to know that if you can tap into the emotion of your client, had a client, I don't mean this. I don't mean to do this, but I love Zillow leads. Had a client, came in with a Zillow lead, saw a house. This is crazy. You're going to love this one. Saw a house with me for 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, I focused on nothing but building a connection. And I genuinely, true story, very vulnerable. I thought I failed miserably at building that connection. Because if we built a connection, shouldn't we have been hanging out for more than 15 darn minutes? I sold that client's house, that client's fiance's house, sold both of them a house. And from that one Zillow lead, we have sold 32 houses or homes from a single lead. To date, we are on 32 that stemmed from that 15 minutes of actually caring about getting to the heart of, I really just want to build the life I always wanted. And I want to do it with my fiance. Because this was two families that were about to blend. And both of them went through very hard times. And when they found each other, they felt like this was it. And taking the time to tap into that emotion and saying, I'll be there. And if we're going to build it, let's build it big and let's build it together. Yeah, where are we going to? Let's get you on the water. But let's not just get you on the water. You guys deserve. Because a lot of people on the water, not enough people have a beach. We need to find you water with beach. I'll find it. I promise you, you deserve it. Diving into the emotion of what they're moving for. Ladies and gentlemen, you're probably hearing that this takes more time than how many bedrooms are you looking for? How many bathrooms? Do you want a 1-car garage or a 2-car garage? Okay, are you looking for a single family or would a townhouse work? No, guys, that stuff is so irrelevant when it comes down to what they're moving for. Connect with it. It's the emotion. Let's go to perception. This one's a big one. Perception is simple because we all know it. It's how people interpret things. It's how people interpret things. That's what perception is. Write that down, how people interpret things. What I want to share with you here, as we get down to our last 20 minutes together, what I want to share with you is that perception is how people interpret things, and they start interpreting you before they've ever met you. So clean up your social media. What am I saying when I say clean up your social media? Number one, your profiles should have your name, not your cool name. What's your cool name? I'm going to go out and say it. I'm going to say it. I know what you're thinking. What's he going to say? This guy's a little, what's he going to say? Pants with pockets. Now, if you're in my age group, you remember a certain sound. That sound was, and this is a bad example. That was a terrible example, but it's that AOL dial-up sound. You guys remember that? All you guys that had AOL, you also had AOL Instant Messenger, and you got to create a cool name. My cool name was Pants with Pockets, because I said I was the coolest thing out since Pants with Pockets. Yeah, buddy. You can go ahead and use that, Tom, anytime you want. All right? It's yours. Now, here's the kicker. If I was the coolest thing out since Pants with Pockets, I was probably not that cool at all. And you're right. You're right. I was also like 14, guys. Some adults are on their social media saying I'm a business with names like Your Fave When You Need Me. Like, what are you, what? Your name is your name. That's your social media handle, not some cool iteration of your name. Your name is your name. That's your social media handle. The only time it shouldn't be your name is when someone else has your name as their social media handle. So my encouragement is find a very simple way. So if your name is Phil Gerdes and someone has Phil Gerdes, throw in Phil D. Gerdes, your middle initial, right? Your social media should always say what you do. And here's not what you do. Helping people find their dream home in blah, 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 while changing lives for the blah, blah, blah of the blah. What? Dude, it's realtor. Write it in there. Now, in your description, you can put that little fancy little quote thing that you wrote up on ChatGPT. That's fine. You can put that. But you got to write realtor because it's actually a keyword. And you want to be in the keyword searches. But here's the problem. You'll never be found in keyword searches if you don't have this last one. Where you do business. And here's a secret. Not everyone knows that your city is in your state. So put Annapolis, Maryland, not Annapolis. You understand? People need to find you and know who and what you are when they do. So perception is key. Now, the next thing when it comes to your social media, this is super important. Stop being a darn realtor. In other words, if everything you ever post is just sold, just listed, under contract, no one's going to care about your content. They want to know that you're human. When I find out that you're human, the next thing I figure out is, are you my type of human? When I figure out if you're my type of human, I want to be around you more. So I'm going to frequent your pages more. And when I frequent your pages more, when the time comes, because the average person goes through a 6-month change window. When the time comes that people go through their change window, that opens up to, it's time for me to buy or sell, they're only going to think of you because you are top of mind. Now, how do you become top of mind? We're going to talk about that more on our business planning session on the 15th. So make sure you're registered. Make sure you're registered. It's free. Make sure you're registered. If you're, by the way, if you're a coaching client, make sure you are going in the Shift Vault and you RSVP for that. All right. Okay. Now we've got perception. Let's go to cognition. I'll open up for some questions and then maybe we'll hit 2 or 3 more. So cognition is memory, attention, reasoning, and problem solving. Write that down. I'll say it again. I know that I just ran through it. Memory, attention, reasoning, and problem solving. Memory, attention, reasoning, and problem solving. All right, here we go. In the chat, for exactly no dollars, can someone please tell me what the average American's attention span is today? For exactly no dollars. 8 seconds. Yeah, it's 8.25 seconds. Tom, you were on it like an Easter bonnet, sir. I love it. It is 8.25 seconds. That's it. So you need to understand that cognition is important. People have different pathways and abilities to understand information, remember information, pay attention to information, reason through your information while you're sharing it with them, to actively problem solve while things are going on. So it is vitally important that you hook. What is a hook? A hook is simply something that grabs attention. What is a proper hook when working with a client? Something that reminds what they're moving for. Something that reminds, write that down. Something that reminds what they're moving for. So when you're thinking about cognition, you want to think, okay, I need them to what? I need them to remember what they're moving for as often as I can. Now, I want you to know 8.25 seconds. Look, guys, if you remind me of it every 8.25 seconds, it's going to get a little crazy. Because watch this. Boom. That was 8.25 seconds. It's not a long time. It's not a short time. It's actually much longer than most people realize. But you can't tell me, guys, hold hands every 8.25 seconds. That's going to get crazy. So my encouragement is this. Pay attention to the motivation. Hear and recognize shifts in emotion. Identify when perception is a bit off. And then dive into cognition with a hook. Make sense? Can I see your hands if it makes sense? Give me one of these wiggle wiggles if it makes sense. Oh man, y'all are on camera doing a wiggle. That is great. That's great. This is recorded. What's wrong with you guys? No, I like it. I like the wiggles because now I'm on camera and I'm not the only one that looks silly. All right. I love it. In fact, we're going to start wiggling some more. In fact, one more. Can I get one more wiggle out of the group? Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Come on. Cassie, start wiggling. I see you, Cassie. She's like, no, I'm not doing it. Tom, where you at, Tom? Get the wiggle. Guys, we're going to thank you. I was going to say, we're going to do it till Tom does it. There we go. All right. So let's move on. We've got cognition. I want to know, are there any questions? If there aren't any, if there are, you can drop them in the chat. You can put your hand up, come off mute. It's up to you. But if there aren't any, then I want to jump. I want to go to our next slide. Bam. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, and 8 are learning, personality, beliefs and attitude, and social influence. Learning, personality, beliefs and attitude, and social influence. So for the sake of time, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go over learning, personality, and beliefs. And then we're going to shift towards the end and we're going to wrap because we've got about 12 minutes left together. So when it comes to learning, what learning is understanding that people change behaviors based on what they learn. People change behaviors based on what they learn. So learning creates a shift in behavior. Learning creates a shift in behavior. If you want to help someone shift how they are behaving, teach them something that justifies the shift you want them to make. Don't tell them to change. No one wants you telling them to change. Instead, teach them something that justifies the shifts you want them to make. Now, the best way to teach someone is by asking questions and then helping them determine the shift and the means by which they can get there. So when you're working with a client and they say to you, yeah, but, and you've shown them 39 houses and they still haven't picked one to call home. We have a buyer conversion SOP that allows you and teaches you how to only show 3 houses. And part of that goes into a measuring system of 0 to 10. And when you ask someone, where does this home rank? And they say, it's a 4. A great question to ask, this is not something that people typically think about, is why didn't you measure this a 0? Okay, hold on. Watch this. Why would I do that? Why would I say, why didn't you rank this a 0? Because what actually happens is, instead of me saying, yeah, but this has the pool you said you wanted, what happens is, by saying, remember, psychology, by saying, why didn't you rank this as 0? What you're actually doing is you are saying, justify why it's actually good. Because to explain why you didn't rank it a 0, you have to explain the positives. Now, the goal here is not to get them to say, oh, I'll buy it anyway. No. The goal is to get them to understand how they should perceive the next home we go see, what they should focus on, how they should look at the next home, what they should pay attention to, cognition, right? To adjust reasoning, cognition on the next home that we're going to see. So we want to make sure that we focus on the learning side, and a great way of doing that is the ranking system, and a great way of shifting the ranking system is when they rank a low number, get them to explain why they didn't just go to 0. If you ranked it as a 5, why didn't you just rank it a 0? And then they start talking about the things that they like that don't make it a 0. And then when you get to the next home, you focus on similar attributes. You know, at the last house, you mentioned that you really want a home with this, and you like that it had it, and this one has this. Oh, wow, let's go over there and have a look at that. And that's what you're getting from it. All right, let's go to personality, and then we're going to start the wrap-up phase. So personality, this is the best and easiest one, because I've said it multiple times. Know, like, and trust. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot express enough that you will be the agent they know, like, and trust if you do one thing. You are authentic. That's it. You know, and I know, you can smell fake a mile away. Can I get a hallelujah if you know me on that? Absolutely. No, you know what? Give me a wiggle. If you know me on, yeah, there you go. Thank you. I love you guys. So guys, look, understand, people can sense and smell and feel fake so easily. You have to be genuine. You have to be authentic, because your personality is going to shine. So my question is this: why don't people in our industry, why don't people exemplify authenticity the way they know they should? Well, Phil, people do. I beg to differ. Have y'all ever seen the guys and the gals out there? And you all, I know you have. So if you're like me, you're just going to you're going to wiggle like crazy on this one. If you're like me, you're going to say, yup, Phil, I have. You ever seen the people that you didn't know were the agents that you saw on the business cards? Like, you ever sitting next to an agent at an event and you're like, wait, you're who? Wait, you're the person on the business card? They don't look anything like their picture. That is not authentic. And yet those same agents want to be known, liked, and trusted. Folks, my encouragement here is to be authentically you. Your personality has to shine. Oftentimes people don't do that because they're so darn worried. They're so concerned about how they're going to be seen. But we got to understand that when we're working with clients and we're gaining clients' trust, we have to be seen. So you have to come off genuine and authentic. You have to give them your true self. And that encouragement actually bleeds into this. It bleeds into the fact that, guys, gals, super important. Everyone's not for you, and you're not for everyone. And that's just okay. But I'm going to give you a hack. Someone is going to make more money in 2026 off of this single hack than the amount of money they make selling houses. I promise you, someone is going to do this off this single hack. Stop turning away clients. Refer them. Yup. Refer clients to agents in your market. Yeah. So many of us in this industry say, I got a referral in insert Alaska or somewhere you're not living. Why? We run across people all the time that we know this isn't going to vibe. This isn't going to jive. And they know it too. And what we typically do in this industry is we let them decide that we're not for them. Here's the kicker. When you realize that you are not for them and they are not for you, tell them about Neff. Tell them about Elizabeth. Tell them about Carrie. Tell them about Bonnie. Tell them about Tom. Tell them about Cassie. Tell them about other people. Because what you can do is you can say, you know what? I don't know. And here's what you don't do. Please, I am begging you. Do not say, yeah, I don't know if we're the right person, right type of people to work together. Don't say that. Once you say, I don't know if we're the right people to work together, my trust window closes and I'm not listening. We're not right. You just told me. Instead say, you know what? I'm listening to everything you're saying. And I don't know about you, but I'm thinking, look, I'd love to work with you, but I know an agent, and I don't typically do this, but I know an agent that you are so alike. You need to meet Cassie. I don't typically do this, but I know Cassie really well. And she works in the areas you are really looking to work. And then tie in the listen, ask questions, understand, respond, right? The understanding, tie in what they're moving for, apply it to Cassie, and get a 25%, 30%, 100%, not 100, 25% referral from Cassie on a client in the market. And what's going to end up happening, I promise you, someone's going to do this so much that you're going to get reviews based on genuine authenticity more than you get based on, oh, well, they helped me buy or sell. You're going to collect an entire revenue stream off of not wanting to work with people. Stop turning people away, turn people over. I'm going to say that again. Stop turning people away, turn people over. Because everyone needs a place to lay their head at night. All right, guys, I'll share these last ones with you. I won't break them down. You've got beliefs and attitudes. You have social influence. You have number 9, memory. 10 is self-concept and identity. 11 is cognitive biases. And 12 is trust and credibility. All of these, we're not going to have time to go through. We have 3 minutes left together. But what we do know is that these 12 core elements of psychology, when you implement them into who you are, into working with people with the idea of creating and making an impact, not manipulating. No, how can I use these 12 core elements of psychology to create an impact in someone else's life? Your business grows, not because you made a sale, but because you built a brand based on authenticity, empathy, and vulnerability. And those 3 words, folks, are the core concepts. They are the core elements. They are the root core of every business that we have here. Authentic, empathetic, and vulnerable. They are our core values. We'll dive into a little more of this as we continue through our business planning session on the 15th. I'm going to share with you something. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 through 24 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart and as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. The reason I share that is to say, what drives you? See, this is what drives me, to make an impact every single day. Find your route, find your driver, and let's do it together. If you want to know more about coaching, you can scan that and you can learn more about coaching with me. But I'm going to give you all something right now. I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number. I know, you're like, this guy's crazy. A bunch of people are going to call him and text him. Don't worry, my phone's on DND all the time. Don't call me, but text me. I hope you guys enjoyed today, a little break on what our Zillow Unlock workshop was all about. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. They did not tell me to, but next year, I want to see you all at Zillow Unlock because that event is game changing. Guys, I love you. God loves you. There's nothing you will ever do about that. Have a fantastic day. If you want to talk about anything, whether it's coaching with me on a group session or even our new one-on-one coaching that is releasing on the 1st of January, we only have 10 spots, and that's not true because now we only have 9. Then we can talk about that too. God bless, guys. Have a fantastic afternoon. Let's kill it. Enjoy your holidays. I'll see you in the new year. I'll see you in 1 year. Wow, it's going to take forever. Bye, guys. Love you. See ya.